What's up, everyone, and welcome back, Corked Stats. It's the fastest freaking show in fantasy football, absolutely anywhere. With your boy, Big Johnny Stud. Follow me up on Twitter at John Legaza Flow. Sharpen and Razor, same handle over on Substack. What's up to my MLB crew? If you're into the baseball thing, check out the live stream Monday through Saturday, every day, 9 a.m. Burning the candle on both ends as we're getting ready to do the fantasy football overlap with baseball. Man, check out the pin post on Substack. It is crazy. The data set is crazy. I might be able to show off a little bit of it during the stream, depending where I land and if we have time. But if not, on Substack, it's free. You can check out the pin post to see what it's all about. Team level data, player level stuff, really focused on fantasy, prop betting, also betting, advanced team differentials and shit like that. I actually do have that here. You can see the team level data up. I'm waiting for a drafters draft to fill. We're gonna have a best ball draft. That's their main event, $15, 250K up top. But they also have a weekly winners element, which I tend to really dig. So if you're looking up at the board, that's the offensive stuff, and it just goes on and on. All the important stuff, you know, your pace of play, all the, per drive statistics, of course, rushing, success rate, EPA, after contact, before contact, passing, man, zone, explosive play rates, all the sack stuff. And I've actually added a metric ton going forward. And I mentioned the differentials, but we're getting ready to kick off. I just saw the alert right there. Point differential, of course, plays per game, yards per play, EPA per play, and per dropback, yards per attempt differential, point per drive differential, explosive play rate differential, all the things that really test out pretty strongly for handicapping. So I actually have to give you a little bit of the big nose, sorry about that, so I can share a different screen. We got the draft room, like I said, getting ready to do the little pop off. I'm really stoked to get another one of these under my belt. I really love this format here. I'm going to blow it up for everybody. And all right, that's a pretty good start. I thought there might have been a real like blow up option, but I guess not. Get what we get, and we don't get upset. I'm in the three hole. Always nice to get one of the top three picks. I feel like for all the hand drafts I've done, I have so many, like so many ones that are at the back end. Oh, good. I was able to get one more kind of zoom in right there. And though I don't mind drafting from the back end, even the wheel this year, it gets a little bit tiring. And sometimes you just wonder, like, what if Jamar Chase is the player you need, right? Like, what if, what if that's a thing? And it could easily be, right? It could easily be a thing. Man, I really thought there was a blow up for me here. I might have to go. I might have to go down one so I could see a little bit more of the queue. Yeah, I'm gonna have to settle here for everybody so I could see more than one name. Plus, you get a better view of the entire board. Anyway, Drafters is probably my favorite place to play right now. They don't pay me. Maybe they should. It's a roto element, right? Meaning it's cumulative, which I like better than playoff best ball. I think it more properly reflects the game we're trying to play. Not to knock, DraftKings has one, Underdog has one. Bless their hearts, as my southern friends would say. I just don't like the reset and all this, like, I don't know, weird correlation people are planning for. We're drafting a team for the entire season. Isn't that like wild enough? I also like the fact you get 20 picks opposed to 18. Sounds like, from the sound of it, allow myself to introduce myself. So from the sounds of it, we're a little bit different than, I've been calling them the intellectual fantasy football dark web, but just that there's like 12 people responsible for like 40 shows, right? And sharp as they may be, they tend to really sway and influence markets. A lot of them are also using these like drafting programs now. I'm not going to pretend to be smarter than that. However, I can try and do like the judo thing, right? And use the momentum against itself where we disagree, trying to take full advantage. There's a couple stands going out there, not stand like I'm a stand, but a stand, I mean, that I don't think I necessarily agree with, and then I think you got to roll into it. And then there's a few more popular kind of strategies that I am finding myself aligned with. First and foremost, being not leaving the first 3 rounds without a running back. I mean, this has been beaten to death, right? The Hero RB and Robust RB and Diet Citrus RB, less great taste, less filling RB strategies. And I've been trying them all. Let me tell you, man, if you are leaving the third without RB, those teams are rough. I just feel like you're constantly playing catch up the entire time. And it also has to do with ADP and the way it kind of falls. Because no, I wouldn't just jam any old running back in the third round because I think you need one. The way the ADP on this board is playing out, I think that's the answer. Meaning, we're going to get into this in just a second. It's so perfectly laid out. I just did an article for Matthew Berry's Fantasy Life. I'm a writer over there. I also have some writing at Rotoballer, and then in season, I do a waiver column at the Athletic. I'll probably be doing the like game by game stuff for Barry. So check out the fantasy work. I also have uploadable DraftKings and Best Ball rankings 1 through 3 on the CSV. I think they're really sharp because I mean I auto draft off them and do pretty well. So back to the running back thing. If you're in the front, right? So we can kind of do this pick by pick. If you have 1 or 2, you should be taking Gibbs or Bijan Robinson, automatically satisfying at least 1 of 3. I'm not in love with the backs on the way back. Sometimes I have taken Jeremiah Love, who I just took in the third. I think that's a little bit of a steal. I'm not the biggest like rookie running back guy either. I also think there's a very strong case for Tyler Algier in best ball. He just stole goal line work from Bijan Robinson. Like, is he not going to steal it from Love? I think he will. But Love should be crazy explosive to get the ball a million times. And we're finally not paying a first round price, right? Bijan was first round. Ashton Genty was first round. As rookies, I mean. And now then he's not. He's fallen into the third. If I'm outside of those first 2 picks, right, because I want to set up the caveat that sometimes I think if you have the 1 or the 2, man, if you have the 2, I don't think you're taking a running back in the back end of the second. No one good really falls. I think you're better off getting an elite wide receiver, one that moves around the rotation. I like London. I like Collins, if they're available. More so than Rice. I kind of like Pickens. I'm torn on Neighbors, man. I think I want to see a little bit more. But I wasn't drafting Neighbors, so now I think I want to get some while he's still in the third, opposed to like being in the second. So I'm not saying I'm jamming him, but I am kind of pushing the button, I should say, like maybe not say against my better judgment, but just because I want to be balanced on the type of player that can kill you again in the third round. A full season of Bleak Neighbors with a step forward from Jackson Dart can absolutely fuck you if you don't have any of it from the third round. There are people that were getting him in the fourth, but I don't think it's a lost cause yet. It's still just 1 round. I'll go to Breece Hall in the third. I'll go to Breece Hall as early as that third pick in the third. I don't know why he doesn't really get the love. He's a beast and a workhorse. He's a fucking stud with prospect pedigree, finally playing with like a real quarterback. That makes a fucking huge difference. He catches the ball. He's explosive. He's healthy. We keep hearing the Braylon Allen thing or whatever, Isaiah Davis thing. I'm a Jet fan too. No. Nobody gets all the work. And for the third round, Breece Hall gets enough of it. I was hoping for Loveland in the fourth. I'm taking Loveland in basically every draft in the fourth, so I'm probably glad that I didn't get him. I'm kind of looking at Tootin right here. He's been going up, but I like Tootin in the fourth a lot, especially because Rodriguez falls, and I think they make a great pairing. I feel like you have a whole bunch of running back points locked up if you're believing in the Jaguars taking a step forward. they're going to be very hard in managed leagues to know when to pull the trigger on everybody. I mean, you're starting Tootin pretty much every week. Rodriguez, maybe not so much. He may prove to be a weekly flex guy. But in best ball, you get all the spike weeks, and there could easily be times when they both feast. Whether it's a blowout, whether Tootin did it through the air and then Rodriguez punched it in. There's tons of scenarios where a two-headed monster in a very prolific offense kind of gets it done. Into the fifth we go, and I've been drafting Evans as he right around ADP. I know he's banged up a little bit. I don't think I give a crap yet. In my many years of fantasy football, and I've always been afraid of injuries, the stuff that's fucked me up is overreacting to these preseason little things. Unless a guy is legit messed up and they're talking surgery and imaging and stuff, I honestly ignore it. Mike Evans had like a little leg thing. They're not going to push him, and he's old, and the substation is, the fucking 5G waves are eating up 49ers every day. Man, my nose started itching, so you know it's true. But yeah, I'm getting Evans. I mean, listen, there was a time when having the pure X in the Shanahan receiver, Julio Jones, was like a pathway to greatness. Plus, Brock Purdy is a wonderful value in these drafts. So I'm fine with Evans again. Evans in the fifth. Not sure how he's any different than, like, I don't know, guys going in the third even. Like, why is he 2 rounds cheaper than Igbuka? I don't know. And I like Igbuka. But why is he 2 rounds cheaper than Igbuka? Why is he full round and a half later than Devontae Adams? Devontae Adams, all this, like, touchdown dependent stuff. So the running back strategy really does kind of rule the day. Again, I was writing about that, how positional ADP. So what I did, everyone, check out the article. It's cool. I charted each position with like an emoji, like a blast emoji of where they fall. So the quarterback, no names, just like where they fall. And the quarterbacks go really late. You could see this happening here. First quarterback is Josh Allen. And while he's probably the best player in the game, which is funny, I have to ask you about this. Like, shouldn't we be like want the highest scoring player in the game? And you do, but you can only start one QB, even in best ball. Now, there's another argument for Allen where I've seen people say if they take Allen, they only take one other quarterback. Man, in 20 rounds, it's a risky game. In best ball, it's a risky game because football hurts. And I guess those same people say, well, if I lose Josh Allen, my season is over. I don't know if that's necessarily the case. You know, what if Allen gets you most of the way? Remember, this is cumulative. Even towards playoffs. What if he gets you to the end? And, you know, don't you want somebody else that's good? Or I like to have three. I think you should always be balancing. ABP, always be balancing. So the problem with Allen isn't so much that, you know, he's still the favorite to score the most, and I believe that. My worry is the gap between Allen and everyone else being too wide to make up for the price disparity, right? Because now, look, we got Jackson falling to the end of the fifth here. Usually, once you hit pick 60, quarterbacks start to go. That's also the furthest I've seen Christian Watson fall. I'm drafting a ton of Watson. Can't believe he fell to the 5-6 turn. I can tell you already, I'm glad. I've got Jeremiah Love, Bashal Tootin, got two guys that are projecting to touch the ball a shit ton. Now, maybe Jacksonville on a good offense more than Arizona. Though, you know, we've seen Arizona volume their way. Not sure how much better the defense is going to be. And we know Brissett will sling it. And maybe they get a little more, you know, under center and functional with Love. And maybe he looks great. I don't pretend to know shit about prospects. I know if he wasn't going in the third round, I wouldn't be drafting him. But he is, so I am. We're up again. You know, pick 70. I've been kind of getting back into Brian Thomas. And now I have a little bit of a bet on the Jaguars, which I'm fine with. You know, that's where I want to be putting my chips. On players that have ceiling cases, on teams that could explode. Jamar Chase, yes. Drake London, obviously. Jeremiah Love, Bashal Tootin. These are upside, explosive players with careers in front of them, not behind them. Maybe not so much for Evans. You make that sacrifice on the fifth for the system in San Francisco with the competent quarterbacking and everything. Plus, I think Brian Thomas bounces back. I think he was hurt last year. yeah, I mean, I mentioned the Jaguar stuff. I'll go reach a few picks for Lawrence, though. If you know anything about me, I really could give a shit less about ADP. It's mean to me. It's really meaningless. No, I'm not going to throw it away to the point I'm going to take a guy 8 rounds early to get my guy. No, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do whatever the fuck I have to do to build my team. That's what I'm going to do. What are you going to do? I'm going to build whatever the fuck I have to do, bro. That's exactly what I have to do. Now, though I mentioned having 2 quarterbacks, I like to have 2 good quarterbacks. And I wonder if looking back, that might be the fail point for me. Now, I'm generally drafting one of the first 4. I have a ton of Drake May. I have a ton of Jaden Daniels. If I have one of those front half of the 6 spots, I think those guys are smash plays. I think their relative value to everywhere else is tremendous. And then there's a tier drop off also at the position. I'm generally making sure to jump in at least before Lawrence, Herbert, Hurts. Now, I've ended up with a shit ton of Purdy. I have him ranked higher than everybody. And then I like Jackson Dart because I think he runs a ton. Fail safe for me is Malik Willis. Everywhere else is like, it's kind of stack dependent. I like some Packers, so I've drafted some Jordan Love. I like quarterbacks that run at least a little bit. So if you kind of have that stuck in your craw, you don't draft a lot of different QBs. I don't have a diverse quarterback portfolio. In fact, I don't have a very diverse portfolio for a person that has hundreds of drafts. I don't have a diverse portfolio. I don't mind running guys into the 30s and 40%. I don't give a shit. I don't care. I'm betting to win. I want to win the money. I want to win the money. And though I don't know him, I have become a huge fan of Chess Liam because he's got that kind of pointed attack, you know, indifferent and, totally, not dissuaded by anyone else. Like he's going to march to the beat of his own drum and go get it. He's got huge best ball wins, got big poker wins, chess wins, whatever. But the attitude is what it's all about. He's going to get it. You're not going to tell him how to win. He also plays a higher volume than me. If he played what I play, I wonder what his would look like. But yeah, you don't go to the bar and order watered down drinks. I don't draft guys I don't want. But I don't overpay. Right? I have plans. That's also part of it. I like to think I'm smarter than the average bear. If Purdy makes me at 94, I'm going to dance a jig. I don't think he's going to. But I'm probably going to grab Dart there anyway. And I like to get 2 of the top 12 QBs. I think that's going to be one of the keys this year. Having that double attack all the way out. Running with the 1 QB is tough. That's where Josh Allen makes a lot of sense because he's so ridiculously consistent. A lot of guys, when you look back, oh shit, a top 6 quarterback. And there's a bunch of weeks that they didn't really move the needle for you. And I'm going to hope that, you put together a couple of pairings and they work. I'm feeling that clench, man. 1 more pick away. I'm ready to be sniped. I'm always, right? You have to get in the state of, I'm always ready to be sniped, right? I'm always ready to have to pivot. I didn't have to here. I am freaking thrilled because now we've paired Lawrence with Tootin and Thomas plus Purdy with Evans, and now I'm going to look to backstack some 49ers. And again, this kind of leads into my earlier point about how when you get the running backs out of the way and you're not having to oh man, do I want Tony Pollard? Do I want Rashad White? By the way, these are all guys I've drafted. Do I want Kenneth Gainwell? These are all moved up also, right? They were a little more interesting, that back pocket, now Stevenson is probably where he was around 75 or whatever. But Gainwell and White were available after pick 100. Now they're moving up into the high 80s and the 90s. And I'm like, man, right around pick 100 is when my Jonathan Brooks alarm starts going off. And when you have 2 running backs without the super elite ones, right? I think that'd be fair to describe. We want Love to be that. We don't know if he's that, but we want him to be that. Ooh, and I'm like, it's Jonathan Brooks or Blake Corum, man. This decision tears me because it's like Boomer and Zoomer, right? I think the correct pick is probably Blake Corum. I'm going to take Blake Corum. And I want the answer to be Jonathan Brooks, all the explosive, and he stays healthy, right? And they do shit, but let's be honest. They're both part of a committee. We should take 1, the player that's done it, 2, the player with NFL experience, 3, the player tied to the significantly better offense. And now I'm getting ready to close the book on my running backs until the very end. Man, I hope I can remember all this shit. Again, thanks everybody for tuning in. Press the like button. Shit matters more than it should. Subscribe to the channel. Thank you everybody for getting us over 1,000 subscribers. Can't believe it happened so fast. I do appreciate it. And again, if you're into baseball, so many stuffs and things, man. But if you're into just football, it is fucking crazy around here. The new sheets are going to be ridiculous, man. I've been talking a lot of shit about them. Maybe I should start like pushing them out. I just want to make sure that they are perfect first. And if there are stats missing that you want, you tell me, I add them. And I think that's why they become so good. I'm telling you, geared towards everything fantasy. You know, all the prop stuff we really care about, quarterback running yards and running back receptions and tight end receptions, plus every defense, how many points they allow to a position per game, alignment stuff and too high stuff. And again, man and zone with all the slot and positional things. It's fucking awesome. Like I said, I don't mind adding. I enjoy it because I know it's making it's making the work so much better. So yeah, shout out to all you people, yo. Football's version of 300. Give the book nothing. Take from that bitch everything, yo. It's not madness, baby.
This is Sparta!
Damn right, Leonidas. So what I was alluding to before was how running back strategy really kind of rules the day in basketball. Like where you are on running backs really makes all the difference, right? So I think you need at least one in the first three. I went and took my third in the first 9. Now, a lot of the dark web guys, they rush to 4 and shut it down. I get it. I'm not crazy with the opportunity cost because I don't actually love the players. Right? Brooks went after my Quorum and then Jordan Mason, and those are like the guys I like, and that's it. And I don't want to push them any further again for the opportunity cost stuff. So right off the bat, that's one place where probably a little bit different. And Dalton Kincaid went. No, I'm not going to push tight ends that I don't love. I'm going to go with the players that I like. Again, getting my guys with around cost. I've been drafting a ton of Romeo Dubs. I think he's going to be fantastic, yo. I'm really bullish on New England, and it's almost like, oh, they got AJ Brown. They don't need a second receiver. They had nobody. They had nobody. Dubs is a legit NFL quality receiver. He's a winner in the end zone. I think he's going to dominate in the middle and across the field and stuff like that. Let AJ Brown stretch. We want pass catchers. May is the fucking GOAT. Now maybe I go back. Man, see, and then I was thinking like, should I get Kittle or maybe I should wait and just jam like a bunch at the end. Maybe I like Kittle a half a round after ADP. I do have Purdy, and yeah, I'm gonna go. I hate being too optimistic on injuries, and Kittle is my first tight end, which I don't love. But I do think that's the position you can win at. Again, I'm usually getting Kincaid there. He's been sliding up briefly. I'm going to hope Okonkwo falls to me next. I don't know if I'm going to be so lucky. So it looks like that's probably where my sacrifice was. But again, I think you can clean up. I really like what's his name on the Rams. I really like Terrence Ferguson as a potential breakout. I think he's got a pathway to be the third pass catching option there. And if they're going to be doing all this multiple tight end stuff, he could have a really nice floor with TD potential. Again, I'm going to have to put together a tight end plan as we get later. But, it happens. I also like Likely who went. So maybe I have to adjust. But, I'd rather have Dubs and Quorum solidifying, again, parts of really good offenses. Kittle, we're hoping, is part of a really good offense, and he comes back healthy. Going to take a little bit, to get him there, right? We're not expecting much, if anything. I think he's on the pup to start. But I'd rather him be out and try and come back full strength. We know he's a sick beast with tremendous spike week potential, right? Kittle, and that's what you love about spike week guys in this is you get to keep those. You get to keep that shit, opposed to underdog. The spike week guys are just advanced rate guys, they call them, but it resets at the playoffs. So I don't want that. I want my points to carry over. So I don't want to panic on tight end because I had a fortified running back room. Again, I'm waiting on. I don't care at all about running backs right now. I'm out. I'm not even really looking. There's nobody I want. There's nobody I want. Because I really like this team so far. Trevor Lawrence and Brock Purdy, quarterback. Lawrence connected to Tootin and connected to Thomas. We love that. Purdy connected to Evans, connected to Kittle. We love that. With Jamar Chase, Drake London, Romeo Dubs, we're really kind of feeling thick. Jeremiah Love and Blake Corum also running the ball. And I'm hoping, Love, Tootin, Corum is two out of my three running back scores. I'm going to look to get my flex from either my fourth wideout or fifth wideout. So I'm feeling really good about this. About this draft. Again, it's always comes down to balance for me. I kind of lucked out. Okonkwo fell to me. I think he's got a chance right now to be the second target earner. He's got crazy skills. And there seems to be a lot of drumbeat coming from Washington right now. The rapport between Daniels and Okonkwo. Daniels was kicking ass with like no one, right? But the withered husk of fucking Zach Ertz, man. Those are two totally different players. If Okonkwo hits at all, he could hit really big. The chances feel pretty low, and I wish he was my tight end 2, not my tight end 3. Again, I'm very, very honest with this stuff. I don't like to jock. You don't want to be roster baiting it. Oh man, look at this squad. But I think we did a pretty good job of building it out. Now we have the freedom of going whichever way we want. Don't love the quarterbacks at this spot. Really don't. Oh, you know what? I am kind of fell right to me. And I said I was going to get away from running backs, but I'm going to make an exception for Tyler Algier to pair with Jeremiah Love because of the best ball stuff, because of the end zone stuff. I think there's an argument to be pairing guys, which reminded me of Rodriguez, who went a little bit earlier maybe than I expected. I guess I could have been looking at him in my 11, but I needed the tight end, and he was gone before the 12th. So the timing just didn't really work for Chris Rodriguez. Not that I want them both, but I'd rather have Rodriguez than Algier. We'd rather be attached to the Jaguars than the Cardinals, but I'll take it regardless. Again, we've just seen offensive ceiling from the Cardinals. It's like the Jets argument. Surround an okay the replacement level QB with elite talent. They could put up tons of points, especially if they're behind. So now I'm closing up shop in the running backs until the last rounds. That's it. I'm out. I'm out. I'm going to be looking to fortify wide receivers, but again, it feels pretty thick. Chase, London, Evans, Brian Thomas, Romeo Dubs are not really wanting for production here. And I think that's how you do it. Again, the more I do of these, the more, not say the same team, but the more I'm kind of deploying that strategy, which again is multi-layered. And to go back to the beginning, right? So if you ever pick one or two, you're taking one of the elite guys, and then you're good. Then I would deploy this same strategy post round 3. Maybe looking for Tootin, I'm looking for Brooks, or one of those guys. If you get 3, 4, 5, I think you got to take a wideout, right? You're taking Chase, you're taking JSN, you're taking Puka, you got to. I'm taking Shanty as high as like 7 because I don't really like Taylor. I don't really like McCaffrey. Man, I'm trying to get myself into Taylor if Daniel Jones is healthy. I think I'm out in McCaffrey with the age and the touch stuff. It's just, man, it's a little scary. It's funny. Well, no, you're always saying you can't predict injuries. Can you predict injuries? No, but come on, man. Yeah, damn right. That's a lot. That's a lot of fucking touches, man. And the rush efficiency was terrible. I just wouldn't be surprised they get away from him in that aspect. But their defense, I don't know how that's shaping up. He's going to catch a million balls, but I don't love it. I don't love it. I have my McCaffrey roster shipped through fucking auto drafts. Damn. There goes a couple of my guys right off the rip, back to back in front of me. So I'm going to have to lean into the Jaguar stuff and take Travis Hunter. The players I was alluding to were, I like Trey Tucker and Jalen Naylor from the Raiders. I think they're both going to play a full complement of snaps. Right? I think their jobs are pretty much locked. And I think I don't know, either Cousins could be okay or Mendoza might be okay. And, in round 13, 14, just looking for spike weed stuff. Kubiak's going to bring that all those awesome play action packages there. And that could be really good. And now I'm like a little bit torn because my guys went off the board. Judy, I kind of like Dontavian Wicks. I'm really not crazy about this. Oh, you know what? I'm going to flip back to tight end. And I'm not waiting to get my guy. I'm getting Ferguson. In that spot, I've been taking some Dulcich. I like Ferguson over Dulcich. I think the environment is so much better. And I have enough Dulcich attached to Willis. I think if Dulcich is going to work, it's because Willis worked and they found something in Miami. But hopefully I made some lemonade out of those tight end lemons where, what felt like a bit of a loser, the tight end room, to turn it into Kittle, Okonkwo, Terrence Ferguson. All of a sudden, I don't feel so terrible about it. Now, I might add a fourth tight end in here. That's been one of the brain trust things that I haven't really gotten into. But I will make an exception when I wait too long. One of the things I like to do, I don't think I'm going to be able to work it here because you have to take him in this round, would be I have a ton of Mendoza tied to, late Raiders, right? So I have the Mendoza, Tucker, and Mike Meyer stack. I really like Meyer as a 20th round pick. And that's part of the argument I don't disagree with when it comes to the dark web guys. Their whole thing is avoiding zeros. I got to be careful disagreeing with them because I think they're smarter than me and better players than me. But I've got to do what I can with what little tools the good Lord gave me, And I do understand that. But I still want guys I really like. I feel like they're okay with they just take Hunter Henry and they take I don't know, guys that just fucking fall in the end zone. And I don't like those kind of players. Like Jake Ferguson, all those late ones. Even guys I worry about Strange, how he fits into the Jacksonville offense. I like so many of the wide receivers. Somebody's got to lose out. And they drafted a big block in tight end, I think. Gadsden for the Chargers, right? They have Polar brought in, and they brought in Njoku, and the word from camp's not been strong. Dalton Schultz was another guy I was trying to think of. I really like Higgins and Collins. I don't know how many pass catchers that team can support. And what does CJ Stroud gonna even look like? So I feel like there's some tight ends that are just so blue. I just want nothing to do with them. I want guys that could shake a tackle, get downfield, and potentially be the second target and or on their team. I do take zeros. Not proudly, but I take them. And the reason I take them is because that's how the team shapes out. I've invested in running backs up front, but I need to get my running back points from those guys. And at the end, I try and take the best contingency plays. The hope is that I don't ever need them. So it doesn't matter if there's zeros. Yeah, there's zeros. I don't care because I didn't need them. Then you hope that maybe a few of them turn into something really delicious. I would be shocked if Mendoza made it to pick 190. I'm 4 picks away. I don't think he's going to make it. He never, ever falls to pick 190. I'll tell you what, Brissett is also out there, and I've got Cardinals. I don't like Brissett. I'd rather have Mendoza because I want the backloaded production. I'm getting one of them, which is pretty exciting, man. Wow, that's a really exciting to get Mendoza there at pick 190. Like a round and a half, almost 2 rounds after ADP. He's more like I think he's like a 175 guy. He's my favorite third QB. Again, you get him so late around guys that are hardly even starting. The problem with Brissett is the bench risk, of course. They paid him, but not a ton. And you might see, what's his face, Carson back there or whatever. And not that I know shit about that. I don't pretend to know anything about these guys. I'm not even going to pretend. But I do know Mendoza is kind of a good guy, and I think Kubiak's done a good job with these youngsters of kind of cultivating talent and stuff. And I think there's a really good pop for, a late season burst. Market's gotten really sharp at the back end here. There's just not a lot of wide receivers I really want starters. I think it's harder to find what would be considered waiver wire guys. where when it comes to the back end, it was half tongue in cheek, kind of not bragging that I'm taking zeros, but admitting at least openly and publicly I am taking zeros. Now, I've gotten rocked on the Mike Washingtons, right? I've gotten rocked on the Katron Allens and the Emmett Johnsons before, the non-first day draft picks that really don't pan out or don't even get an opportunity. So yeah, I'm out there kind of grabbing late RBs, but a perfect example would be who I took in the 17th is George Kalani. I'm fine taking anywhere after pick 190. He has a job. Like he has an NFL job, and he's spelling with a rookie. I really like Jadarian Price. They're both too cheap, if you ask me, because the Charbonnet injury optimism is what's patently insane for me. This guy got hurt in the fucking playoffs. He's coming back and at full speed and going to be like trucking guys or whatever. You're missing me with all that shit. You're missing me with all the injury optimism. You really are. To me, that's totally jumping the injury shark. No thanks. So to me, at least, if you're like not drafting Charbonnet, who again, it doesn't really go that, he's not that cheap. A 15th round pick is not that cheap. I mean, my favorite player is because went there, which is Marshawn Lloyd. We'll talk about him in a second. But so Halani got critical snaps in the playoffs. Again, this isn't like he's great, although he was a little bit better in his past than I knew about. Again, I don't pretend to know shit about these guys coming up. I think knowing about the rookies actually is a disservice. It actually hurts you because you try and project that production onto the NFL when you're probably better off viewing them as archetypes. Cost plus archetype and situation, of course. So I have Halani. Well, everyone has Halani in Price for at least a month. Again, at least a month. What if Price kind of struggles in the system? And, what if he's not the pass catcher? People worried he's not. I mean, if he is, I'm drafting Price anyway. If he's like a 3-down beast on a winning team, that's a correct answer, survey says. And if not, he should be getting a chunk of the work on a good team. So like I'm just like all about that. All about that. Man, market's gotten really sharp. Again, I like to get guys with jobs. When you get to round 18, wide receiver jobs kind of run out. I've been taking Devon Vele in a bunch of spots. Again, they paid him. They did draft Jordan Tyson. So I think it's limited role stuff. He's had injury concerns of his own, and Olave, knock on wood, his concussion stuff doesn't pop up. But there is a pathway where, as a contingency play, where I think Vele, if someone gets hurt, steps right into a role. Again, knows the system, earns some targets there, has some chemistry with Shuck. I think he's going entirely too late, right? He's going after pass catchers that are zeros. So I think with the speed and the play volume we're expecting in New Orleans, again, with the chemistry and stuff that I mentioned, you don't need to get the world from these guys. A couple scoring weeks from Devon Vele in your 18th round, you are dancing a fucking jig, bro. You know what I mean? You literally dancing a fucking jig. Now, I need to make another running back pick, and I think I'm kind of stuck here with the zero types. And this is why a lot of guys don't like this. Because every week the prices are getting worse and worse. I'm like scrolling. I don't know the answer. You know what? I'm gonna go with Kalen Black, I think. I know all the 49ers are banged up, but we're getting a discount on him. And I know he's exactly the kind of guy that's burned me before. I get it. But I have a ton of 49ers, and I'm worried about the McCaffrey durability. So, it fits into this plan. And I get it. To some people, they'd rather have Mike Gesicki, I guess. Who I was looking at the tight end that went next to him. But that's the tight ends going next to him. And Njoku and Parkinson and Gesicki. I'm not buying that. Why isn't Michael Mayer going there? Kate Otten, another one of those guys. I'd rather have Kate Otten. Why? Why? He's had ceiling games with a million injuries, but now Tampa created a fucking backlog of pass catchers. So I just am not really seeing that. Again, I don't want these fall down tight ends. I don't want the fall down tight ends. I want athletic guys that are might be good at football. So speaking of which, that's my, always my out in the 20th. I'm not seeing him. Oh, there he is. Is Mayer. I might even I could go with Tongas to build up that. Yeah, they're not going to make it back. Mayer's not going to make it back. I would take Tongas. I know some people like Raritan for New England, but again, these are like scary picks. Mason Taylor for the Jets. Sadiq is down right now. People like Kolar for the Chargers, but he's one of three. It does get pretty ugly. So again, it's not like they're these guaranteed point scorers. You have to know what you're looking for. I'm gonna pray that Meyer or Tongas make it back, and if not, I'll back into a running back. I could throw LaQuint Allen on the pile. If something happens to Tootin, Allen is most certainly the pass catching back, right? Where Rodriguez would have to eat all the short yardage stuff and between the, on the goal line, the good stuff. But Allen would definitely be catching passes. He's probably be catching passes anyway. We think it's DJ Giddens in Indy, but we don't know, so that sets up to be a 0. I believe it or not, I mentioned the Emmett Johnson sting. I like Imari DeMarcado as the backup, a 20th round backup for Kansas City. Again, that could be a 0, but at least I'm consistent. He's an NFL player with reps. He's not bad. He's got very good efficiency stuff at times. He made that one true bonehead play and it like totally stained him, but I don't think he's a bad player. Ollie Gordon for Miami. I think it sounds like he's emerging as the 2 behind Achane. We've also seen Gordon suck up some goal line work as a big guy. There goes Mayer. Fuck. So the 20th round is really ugly. Damn, I like the. Gosh, this guy in the fucking 10-0, man. He took 0 QB, very quite literally. 0 QBs until the 17th. It goes Brissett, Cousins, Sanders, and Watson. Yikes, bro. I don't think that's how you do this. I'm sorry. I don't think that's how you do this. I mean, again, we've seen Tongas, act as a tight end 1, like big volume. And you know what? If they're going to be struggling, I think that's where I'm going to go. Oh, no, he went to. Oh, you son of a bitch. Kolar, I like Darnell Washington too. Is that right? Big guy, shake a tackle, probably going to score some TDs. I don't like the fucking pass volume in Pittsburgh or the speed of the offense there. Did Damon Claiborne go? Man, Damon Claiborne goes. That's a guy of like. So yeah, I'm gonna go with Darnell Washington to hope for like a couple tight end touchdowns just to shore up where I think we were at our weakest. So that'll do it for the draft. Thanks for picking up what I'm putting down. I could show off some more of the tools in just a second. Hang on there. These are really kind of fun to play around with if you're into the fantasy thing. Again, we got all player stuff. Again, everything is, formatted, fantasy points, points per snap, points per touch for the running backs, touch per snap, just everything, all the goal line stuff. For quarterbacks, of course, all the surface stuff, off target rates and passer rating, of course, ADOT, percentage of sticks, first down per attempt, splint rates and EPA man zone, targeting by position, all the scrambling stuff, rushing, scramble plus rush per game, of course, deep shot stuff, deep outside stuff, play action stuff. I put together a whole big play action section going forward. All the pressure stuff, of course, under center. Everything that, a growing boy or girl needs to fucking succeed in the fantasy streets. I think it's really helpful. The running back stuff, you can see all the same. Everything really kind of clean, formatted. This is by team, but, you could sort by ADP. I have it synced with my ranks. So when I update ADP off the site, ADP I have using Underdog because it's most liquid. Success rates, explosive rush, 8-man box for running backs, total scrimmage yards, red zone stuff, ed zone stuff, slot stuff, if they get in there or not. All the things I think that really matter. And again, I'm building on top of it every day. But I really like the team level stuff. I think it's really impactful. I was mentioning, for defenses, the yellow is the defensive sheet. Scan over to the fantasy stuff. Fantasy points allowed, these are like huge for prop betting. I mentioned quarterback rushing yards allowed, that's a great prop bet. Running back receptions per game, that's a great prop bet. But just catches and know where the points and stuff allotted, it's really helpful for streaming and stuff. So, all right, that'll do it this time. Appreciate everybody. Thanks for checking out the show. And if you're into baseball, you've come to the right place. Football stuff going to be coming hot and heavy. Been talking to some people about getting some guests on. I did a stream with Amarante. I was talking to Daigle. I'm going to try to get some heavy hitters up in the bitch if I can. And until then, I'll see you. Check out the work. Waiver Wire at The Athletic. Free articles at Rotoballer. Free articles at MB Fantasy Life. And if you find it in your heart to support good people doing good work, in the description, you can see all the stuff that's offered, man. It's really cool. Then in-season weekly projections and optimal 150s, which again, I don't have ETR projections, but I also think they're really good. And I think it's important to have a different perspective than the one that's pushing the market, right? Everybody tends to agree because they're fucking smart. I get it. But that's where we kind of find our holes in, right? The weaknesses in the armor, that judo shit I was mentioning. So, all right, man, that was pretty fucking cool. I think that went good. Gotta love the sound effects. Usually use a bit more of them, but more in the groove for my baseball stuff. All right, that'll do it. Enjoy the games. Enjoy the day. When we're done with the book, enjoy the pay. And remember, when you work this freaking hard, man, winning feels a lot less like luck. Catch you at the next one, yo. Peace out.